Hey everybody, it's Jay, and a little while ago I did a video on my AR-15 magazine collection for 30 round mags, so today I thought I would do the same for my AK mag collection. Now, you might see I don't have quite the variety on the table for the AK mags as I did the AR mags, and there is one simple fact for that, and that is because most of the AK mags I have are of the metal variety. And there are differences between country and manufacturer for steel AK mags, but it wouldn't do much good to have nearly identical steel mags, like 10 different ones that are all almost imperceptibly different to the naked eye, with a few notable exceptions. So I'm only putting one metal magazine up here. This one is actually a Polish steel magazine to be representative of the whole. So, what do we have on the table here? Oh, the other thing too is I'm going to pick a favorite out of these as well. Again, picking a favorite is not me declaring that it is definitively the best magazine ever, but it is the one that I have very arbitrarily picked to be my favorite. So, let's go ahead and get into this. And like with the last video, we'll start with the Magpul, which again, a US made AK magazine, all polymer, and has also become somewhat ubiquitous including with new US made or even new import guns where they need to have a US made magazine in for compliance. This has kind of become the de facto default. This is a good thing. The reason why this is a good thing is because before that I was seeing a lot of Pro Mags. Now you'll notice that there is not a Pro Mag on the table because I will not buy a Pro Mag. I have heard nothing but bad things about Pro Mags. I have had Pro Mags for pistols before that, most notably, whenever the next round would come up, would just fire the entire magazine out through the top of the feed lips. Just absolute garbage, so I won't buy anything Pro Mag. That's been my experience, and what I've read from other people's experience as well. Yours may vary. Now, Magpul has at least two varieties that I'm aware of. The so-called Gen 1, which is purely a polymer feed lip, and then they have a Gen 2 at least. I'm not sure, they might be up to Gen 3 or Gen 4, I have no idea, because I haven't bought one since I bought these, that have metal reinforcements. Now the basic polymer ones with no metal reinforcements are known to break the feed lips over time. That's something that I hear a lot about a lot of AK mags in polymer, is that these feed lips will break, especially when left loaded. I have never actually had a feed lip break on an AK mag ever, Magpul included, but the problem seems to be widespread enough that I wouldn't keep this in a go-to rotation. So for a cheap range mag, I think these are 11 or 12 bucks. Seem perfectly fine, but it's not something that I would fall back on or try to rely on in any capacity other than having a fun range day. So next up, we have sort of the polar opposite of that in terms of polymer AK mags. This is the legendary, according to the internet, Bulgarian Circle 10, so-called Circle 10, because of the Circle 10, for the Bulgarian arsenal. Waffle mag, so-called because of its shape, or the pattern, I should say, on the outside. Which, these kind of act like a reinforcement, as well as giving you some texture to the magazine. If these are dropped, a good chance that instead of hitting the body of the mag, it's going to hit these ridges out on top, which makes them pretty durable. The other thing that makes them pretty durable, we have a metal floor plate and internally reinforced steel feed lips, which you can't really see, but I promise you it's there. Steel reinforced, well, it's not even really reinforced, it is a steel locking lug. And I believe I'm going to put it on a magnet. Yeah. The front locking lug is steel as well. So the reason why these have such the reputation that they do is because of that reinforcement and just the overall durability of these mags. Comparing this to something like the Magpul, the Bulgarian feels like a tank, which is somewhat appropriate because they cost about as much as a tank. Besides the Bakelite, which I'll talk about here in a minute, this is the most expensive mag that I have on this table. I think I paid around 45 bucks for mine. But I have one because I feel like I need to, because these are sort of the de facto best AK mag you can get. The problem that I've had with Bulgarian waffles is I have, I think, 3 guns in total that I cannot get this to fit in. I could go milling out the magwell, I could go milling out the magazine release, but instead I'd rather just stick with mags that will work for sure consistently. So that's really my only 2 hangups about this magazine is price, 45 bucks around, depending on time who you're buying it from and all that stuff. Again, same footnote there. Qualification on prices vary on the internet all the time, so it's going to be different by the time these words come out of my mouth, so don't hold me to that. But about 45 bucks for an AK mag. So we also have Wbp Polymer, which I haven't heard much on the internet about, except that they seem to be pretty solid and work, which is kind of interesting because, like the Magpul, they do not have any metal reinforcements. I've shot a lot of Wbp mags. I've shot a lot of the 223 radom mags for the Archer / barrel rifle, and I've never had a problem with them. I've never had a cracked feed lip. I've never had a significant amount of scarring or anything like you'll see on the Magpul. They just seem to work pretty well, and they're generally also available, and affordable. So I think for an inexpensive polymer range mag, I really think the WBPs seem to be a pretty good choice, and I don't have any issues with fitment because you notice the profile on them is a little slimmer in the body, which also means probably not going to be as durable. I can say pretty confidently, I mean, the locking lugs are plastic as well. There's absolutely no way it's going to be as durable as a Bulgarian. So if you're looking for tank, Bulgarian, decent foreign-made polymer range mag, WBP should be just fine. At least in my experience so far, and again, this is all based on my experience, that has been the case. Now, you're going to get into some weird stuff with polymer AK mags, because a lot of companies have attempted polymer AK mags to mixed success. I'm specifically thinking right now about the AC Unity mags that have come out, which are a foreign import, but they're an Eastern European company, and they're coming out with a lot of polymer mags. This is not one of those, but they've also known to have quite a few issues. That's one area where I think the AR definitely excels over the AK from an aftermarket standpoint. Well, actually, it pretty much excels from every standpoint as far as aftermarket goes, is that we've gotten a really big jump on our polymer mags over whatever country happens to be attempting to make a polymer mag at any given point. So one other example of this is this Circle 11 made by Radom magazine. Now, this one is known to be, at least according to the internet, to be pretty brittle and generally not incredibly reliable, which is interesting because it's Radom. You would think Radom would be really solid, but from everything that I've read, these typically are not the best magazines as far as having a go-to magazine. And as you can see, there's no wear on this because I have not shot this mag. I have this mag, actually Misha gave me a couple of them as a gift because they have Circle 11 on them, and I'm a Polish collector. So, and they're also not very common. But like I said, a lot of countries have attempted a polymer AK mag to a lot of mixed success. This is purportedly one of those. So it's always best, if you're looking into getting an AK mag to do your little research first. Check the internet for the specific brand and poke around in the forums and stuff to see what the actual general impression is. Because like right now, you can find those AC Unity mags out there, I think for $10 or less, and they're everywhere. But the reputation so far, or the reception, has been very mixed as far as durability and reliability and such. So polymer mags are always going to be an iffy proposal for AKs, whereas with ARs, most all polymer mags are going to work fine as long as they aren't made by ProMag. But AK mags, not so much. So I mentioned the most expensive mag on the table. The prices on these vary wildly. I might have paid, I think, $40, $30 for mine when I bought it. I've seen them go for over $100. It just depends on the import wave and what the availability is. This is an original Russian Bakelite mag, made of Bakelite. And it is also metal reinforced. I'm putting it on a magnet over there. I couldn't remember. I was pretty sure it was, but I wanted to double check before I said so for sure or not. And somebody, well, actually me in the comments, has a metal reinforced locking lug on the back and on the front. So really high quality Russian magazine. Robsky uses these in a lot of his tests, I know, and they seem to hold up really well. I do not use mine as everyday range mags, and the reason is because they're not making any more of them, and two, again, the prices are crazy on them. So I do use them if we're doing videos and stuff, or if I'm shooting a gun where a Bakelite mag would be, you know, appropriate. But these to me are more of a collector's item than a real functional range magazine, which they're, like I said, very high quality when you can find them. So way up there as far as quality. Now I mentioned earlier that I only have one metal magazine, one steel magazine for an AK on the table, but I have by far more steel AK mags than any other. And the reason is because, for one, pretty much every country that's ever made an AK has made steel magazines, and most of those have ended up, if not all of those, have ended up on the American surplus market at some time or another. One of the key benefits of these is you don't have to worry about metal reinforced locking lugs, because the whole thing is metal anyway. The floor plate's metal, the follower's metal, everything about this is steel. These are built like a tank. One disadvantage is, a lot of times with a polymer mag, if you take a dent to the side, it's just going to ding if it doesn't break, and it's going to pop right back out. Like, you're going to have a little bit of shock absorption. With a metal mag, if you take a nice solid hit to the body, it's going to ding it enough that it can impact your follower function. But good news, because it's an AK, usually that can just be fixed with a hammer. I have a couple Romanian, I'm going to see if I've got one handy here. I had a couple of these Romanian so-called lanyard loop, because you can, I tried to point it out on the camera, that's not going to help, because these little lanyard loops that were welded on. And you can see this old boy has seen better days compared to the Polish, but they're cool looking and unique. And this one, maybe another one, had a dent so bad in it that the follower did not function. But what I did was took the spring and the floor plate off, took the follower and pushed it down to about where it stopped, just kind of let it fall free, and then took a long punch and hammered it through, flipped it around the other way, stuck it back in the body, and then hammered it through again, which effectively swaged the body out enough that it works fine now. Got all the rust scraped off of it because it was completely coated in rust, and got it lubricated inside. Works great. That is one of the advantages of a metal magazine, or of a steel AK mag, is if you do happen to ding it, you can probably knock that ding out, but you're also going to be down on that mag until you get that fixed. Whereas with a polymer mag, if you hit it hard enough to break the body of the mag, there's a chance that you're going to be down on it too. So, yeah, so generally, my day-to-day go-to range mag for AKs And this is because of the availability, because of the reliability, I think, in general. And if you're aware of some, post them in the comments. But I think if you're buying a metal steel magazine from a country that has made AKs and issued AKs, you're probably going to be just fine. As provided that the mag is not just totally borked from a rust and dinged up standpoint, or if the spring is not broken or something, you're probably going to have a perfect go-to magazine by just buying a steel surplus or foreign-made AK mag, particularly Eastern European. I don't have any Asian-made ones, so I can't speak to those. So, yeah, so these pretty much are my go-to. These are the ones that I have the most of because they're also generally pretty cheap. Again, depending on the country, depending on the time frame, depending on import waves and stuff, a lot of times you can find pretty cheap imported AK mags. I have some of the I have some various bolt hold open ones that work just fine that are newly manufactured. Bulgaria is still exporting newly manufactured ones. So plenty of options, pretty ubiquitous, easy to find. Typically, I have no idea what they're like right now as I'm recording this, but usually you can find them for not very much. So it's easy to buy a bunch of them, and then you don't really have to worry about the reliability standpoint on them. So finally, let's talk about another US-made mag. This one I actually do quite like. This is an X-Tech. I think that they have a specific, Mag 47. These came out of the old US Palm mags, which I believe also had a pretty good reputation, and these have a very good reputation as well. They do have like a cheapo practice version, I think that they call it, that does not have steel reinforced feed lips, but this one has internally steel reinforced feed lips all around the top, and a steel locking lug, and you can see here a steel locking lug, which is a real big improvement over a lot of these other cheaper polymer mags that we've discussed. The other thing too is Military Arms Channel did a torture test on this, comparing it to an AC Unity. And I cannot say AC Unity without thinking of Assassin's Creed Unity. What a weird naming convention that they literally, it's like if somebody came out with a mag and just called it a Pac-Man magazine, because it's just the same, it's the same name. Here's our Doom 64 magazine. Actually, that even sounds better than AC. Anyway, AC Unity. But they compared these X-Tech mags to the AC Unity mags. That just totally made my brain fart. And what he found is, even dropping a cinder block directly down on the side of these things, that these really significant waffle patterns did a lot to absorb that external shock. And he had to try really hard, Tim at Military Arms Channel did, to actually get this thing to fail. He had to deliberately destroy it to make it fail. And that's saying something for a US-made polymer magazine. The other thing that I like is that they have this bolt hold open follower available. Not all of the versions do. You can, if you want to save $5 or so, you can get one without, which is pretty neat, and it works well. It is always a little disturbing to feel that kind of kerchunk feeling whenever the bolt locks open on an empty mag, because it's not something I'm used to on AKs, but it works, and it works quite well. Unlike with the waffle, the Bulgarian waffle, I have never had a fitment issue on my X-Techs. The same guns that the Bulgarian waffle will not fit in, this one fits in fine. And that is one of their claims to fame on their website is that they've tried every AK they could get their hands on, and they fit in all of them. So I think that that's pretty respectable as well. I really like this very squared off floor plate with a big generous takedown disassembly button there. Pretty neat. So my two favorite mags are just surplus, in this case Polish. I think I have more Polish than anything else, because whenever I was buying AK mags more, these were the most available. I think they were 11 or 12 bucks. We have the X-Tech mag for a polymer mag if you're needing to go polymer. And I think I paid around $30 a piece for mine, which is still about $15 less than the Bulgarian waffle. To I guess I need to pick a favorite overall. And just because I feel like it, I'm going to arbitrarily pick the X-Tech as my favorite AK mag overall, because I really do like that bolt hole open follower. It's polymer and fairly lightweight without sacrificing any durability considerations. And to be honest, something makes me feel good about chucking my favorite AK mag to a US manufactured company. So that's pretty impressive that they've managed to really pull off just a really high quality polymer magazine. I think better than any other polymer mag, except for the Bulgarian waffles. So anyway, yeah, highly recommend either if you want to just buy a crap ton of mags, just to have a crap ton of mags, because you need a crap ton of mags, because everybody does. It's going to be hard to go wrong with just getting Eastern European surplus and just buy up 10 or 20 of them as you need them, and have them put back for if you get to a point where you can't get them anymore. So whether because they're not imported anymore or because we're not legally allowed to buy them anymore. So get them while you can, smoke them while you got them. Anyway, this is Jay. Hope you liked the video. Please click like if you did. Be sure to subscribe to us if you haven't already, and check out the link to our Patreon page if you want to help support us. And we'll see you again soon next time.